Rumble and YouTube family, what's good? What's happening? Let's chit chat for a little bit. I just got through watching some Jimmy Dore. He had an interview with Candace Owens and everything else like that. It was a phenomenal interview. I liked it. But a couple of things dawned on me while watching that interview and then at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop that interview, because that's what it was, in the description box, right? So you guys can see for yourselves. But while Candace Owens, who she's part of, I guess you could say, a fringe media to some degree, where she tells her truth. Jimmy Dore, he's a comedian. He does his part. He tells his truth, right? And much of what they believe between Candace Owens, Jimmy Dore, it's much the same. Russell Brand, you could put him along that same vein, right? But a lot of these guys coming out saying their truth like it is, what do they all have in common, right? Many followers. So these guys, being some version of fringe news, have millions upon millions of followers. So then you could take actual journalists, but I'm not shitting on these guys in their craft, right? And I think Candace Owens is an actual journalist, but you could take all those guys, you could throw them in the same lump as Redacted and Tucker Carlson and everything else, right? All these guys are giving their version of the truth, which basically kind of mirrors the other. One mirrors the other. They all basically look the same. Now, the reason I'm talking about these guys in this interview is because, you know, with this last interview that I just listened to, and like I said, it's going to be in the description box, they spoke on topics like the George Floyd, BLM, the Jews even, right? The cocoa shot, you name it. Now, a lot of these topics at one time, actually up until recently, were considered taboo. How taboo was it? So taboo that it would put Sade and the game out of business. All right, okay, all right. That's my joke. I'm gonna let it ride. But real talk, it's so taboo that these guys, they now have free reins to talk about them openly, right? And so they're not going to be demonetized or anything else like that. These guys are basically free to speak however which way they'd like to. So we think. Of course, you guys, at least I think you guys know what it is I'm about to say, except for something like the flat earth. I just find it funny. And it's because these guys, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, these guys have the pulse on what people are talking about and what's bothering everybody, right? These guys know, right? But the problem is that they're not even going to touch the flat earth. Why not? They're not going to touch the true earth. Why not? It's readily available. This is like something that's on everybody's lips. At some point, it's been on everybody's lips, except for theirs. Why aren't they talking about it? Well, I have my belief. I have my belief in that. Well, we just saw what happened with Alex Jones, right? It seemed as if towards the end of Alex Jones's InfoWars show, he just recently had, and correct me if I'm mistaken on this, he just recently had Eddie Bravo and Flat Earth David Weiss on his show. And I think those might have been his last guests. He recently had to go ahead, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but he had to go ahead and he had to liquidate all of his assets and everything that was once InfoWars. InfoWars being like the top of the top echelon when it came to conspiracy news, right? Bigger than Red Ice Radio, bigger than Coast to Coast AM, which at one point was like the top of the top when it came to conspiracy news. Now, Flat Earth, Alex Jones, that show is no more. And so I feel that people see what happened with Alex Jones. They don't want to take that route. To that, I say, guys, listen. It's easy for me to say because I'm a dusty dude. I'm broke, whatever. It is what it is, right? But you're going to have to take that step. You have such a big platform, Redacted, Candace Owens, Jimmy Dore, Tucker Carlson. You know, Stu Peters even went out, and he went out on a limb and he started discussing it, right? But those guys are a little bit more Russell Brand, right? So these guys are a little bit more I'm not going to say they're mainstream and not mainstream at the same time. It's kind of like they're in the purgatory of journalism to some degree, but they're free to talk about the Jews now, right? They're free to talk about the cocoa shot, right? They're free to talk about these things that at one time were considered taboo up until recently, right? The Ukraine war, the super corrupt politicians here in the US, the wars that the United States have started, right? The unjust wars. One time taboo, now free reign, except for the flat earth, except for the true earth. These guys ain't talking about it. I think they saw what happened to Alex Jones. They don't want to even touch it because they feel their money will be messed with as far as monetization from YouTube and then other platforms. Now, with that, and with me knowing this, and I feel that, hey, I might be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, somebody please correct me. But who is going to be the first, right? I mean, we do our due diligence. We go in and we discuss the true worth. We bring it up. We mention it. We get demonetized. We have, Ask Taboo Conspiracy 3. Matter of fact, he just made an awesome video today. Go check it out. I'll probably put that in the description box as well. But Ask Taboo Conspiracy 3, how many channels he had to make? He had to remake and then remake on top of that, right? The guy does some great research, great work. He doesn't sit there and swear like I do. And they still shut him down. Ask Terry Eicher what happens with him. They still shut him down. But somehow these guys bounce back and then they remake the channel and they have such a strong and a good following. But the Candace Owens, the Tucker Carlsons, the Jimmy Dores and everyone and everything else like that, these guys will not touch it. So who's going to do it first? These guys have such a strong platform and such a loud voice, such a big voice and notoriety. Who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first? Now, many of us thought it was going to be Tucker Carlson after being fired, talking about this one and that one, right, from Fox News. He hasn't touched it. He hasn't even come close to doing it. And it seemed when Alex Jones was doing it, right, it was like he was running a clearance sale basically at InfoWars. And he was just like, fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to let these guys run roughshod on the show. And I'm going to say my piece. And it's going to be a flat earth show on InfoWars, something that at one time you probably would never have seen. Either way, we have our voice, right? We have our collective voice as a true earth, flat earth community. But how much more could we get from guys like even the new black media, right? These guys, right? The 19 Keys, the, Earn Your Leisures, the Phil Scott Show even. These dudes, and nobody's talking about it, right? Nobody's coming out and nobody's putting it out there. Let's discuss this flat earth. Let's discuss this true earth because apparently it's really bothering some people and there's some truth in it. And then my thing is, we really don't have much to say. If we wanted to say a lot, if they get a hold of it, we don't have much to say. All we need to say is, hey, we see too far. And then we could bring up, remember that whole experiment everybody keeps talking about with the boat going over the curve? Well, guess what? There is no curve. No boat goes over the curve. That's all BS. And we can demonstrate it. We don't even have to talk about this one and that one and that one and this one. That's all we need to say. Let them ask the questions. We'll feed them the answers. We'll feed them the truth. And really all it is, we're all looking for truth. We just happen to be in the true earth, flat earth community. That's it. And it's a true earth for a reason, because this is stuff that we can demonstrate, stuff that's actually demonstrable, stuff that you don't have to sit there and scratch your head about and say, maybe, maybe not, or I guess this. No, this is all demonstrable stuff you can't refute. Really, that's all I got, family. Anyway, be sure to tune in on True Earth Tuesday. Of course, I'm going to be there. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this time. And of course, I'm going to have fire internet and I'm going to be sounding a lot better. So that's all I got, YouTube family. I wish you guys nothing but the best, and Rumble, of course. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, most of all, wisdom. I'm going to put those things in the description box so you guys can enjoy them for yourself. I love you. I'm out. Peace.